Welcome to Collaborative Growth Coaching Podcast. Hi, I'm Christine Baylor Goodlander.
And I'm Melanie Oliveri, and we're so glad you're here. This is a space for anyone who's ready to let go of what's holding them back, tap into their true potential, and create a life that feels meaningful and joyful.
Growth does not happen alone. It's about connection, support, and taking steps that feel right for you. Each week, we'll explore ways to shift your mindset, find clarity, and take inspired action toward the life you really want.
If you're ready to feel more confident, clear, and connected to your purpose, this podcast is for you. Let's walk this path together and discover the amazing possibilities waiting for you.
Welcome to Collaborative Growth Coaching, where your next chapter begins. Good morning, beautiful people. It's Christine and Melanie from Collaborative Growth Coaching, and we are here today with Cynthia Unger. Cynthia is going to discuss with us universal laws. She's written a couple of books. One is the Introduction to Universal Laws, and the other is Love and Nature Through Awareness and Reflection. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And Cynthia's information, of course, as always, will be at the end of this podcast for you. So Cynthia, good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you coming in and chatting with us a little bit this morning. So for our listeners that are new, can you give us a simple explanation of what universal laws are and how do they differ from the laws you experience in your daily life?
The universal laws are constant, unchanging principles that govern how energy moves and interacts in the universe. To be fully honest, I don't completely understand them, but I don't doubt them. Um, I've seen them, I've seen evidence of them at work. And the more that I lean into it, the more evidence I see all around me. They're always at work, whether we're aware of them or not, influencing everything from our thoughts and emotions to the results we see in our lives. To me, the universal laws are the root of everything. They help us understand how life works. Um, and for me, I see it in nature. That's where I can witness them at work. We're all vibrational beings, constantly giving off energy with our thoughts, our words, and our actions. And the energy creates a ripple. And simply put, what you believe in, you'll find. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and the energy matters.
Definitely. Yeah, very definitely. Can you tell us what your first real experience or kind of like aha moment was when you were working with universal law and maybe how it changed the course of your journey?
Yes. In my mid to late 20s, I stumbled across Napoleon Hill's, a set of Napoleon Hill's books, The
Mm-hmm.
Law of Success in 16 Lessons. I found them in the back of a church rummage sale. Once I had them in my hand, and it was the 1939 edition, so it was something about them being old and um, rare. They definitely felt rare, but once I had them in my hands, they just felt like they were meant for me. Um, I bought them, and the intention was to sell them on eBay. But once I had them, I couldn't let them go. And once I read them the first time, and I've read them several times, I will never let these books go. They just opened my eyes up to what almost seems like common sense, but just had never been laid out in front of me this way. In simple terms. And so those books just started me on a journey of paying attention a little bit differently, holding myself responsible. Definitely changed the way that I hold myself responsible for where I'm at, and definitely how I'm reacting to a situation.
Oh,
Those books led me to some other people. Bob Proctor, huge influence for me. Again, just breaking it down, making it seem like um, common sense, just making it easy to follow along. The more that I just ease into it, let life flow, and really lean into faith, the more I believe in it, and it's become a fun journey.
Awesome. It is. So Most people have they may not understand, but they've heard of the law of attraction. But truly, universal laws go much, much deeper than that. What are one or two of those universal laws that you really feel have made the biggest impact in your life, and how did they do that?
I do love the law of attraction, and that does have a lot of power. One of the ones I want to talk about is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And that one I want to talk about because just those words, they still sound very complex to me. So that one was tough for me. But once I just substitute it with perception, if I just change my perception, I can change so much. And the more I play with that, and the more that I listen to other people's stories, and the more that I'd watch, um, actually, the more that I put that in play in my own life, the more that I can see that happen. Just changing the way you approach a situation will change its trajectory going forward. And you can take that, down your whole life and change the path of your life just by changing your mind, just by changing the way that you think about a situation, one small piece at a time.
So changing their mind, using their awareness and their consciousness to kind of create results.
Yes, gratitude is to me is the biggest force behind this. And right, so you're in a sticky situation or a situation you just don't like, but there's always somewhere else you can turn your situation, your attention. There's always something. You're still here. There's a reason for you to be here. You're breathing. You start with that you're taking that breath, and the minute you turn to gratitude, it shifts that energy. Um, and it just becomes quicker and easier to do. I do find it still, a practice, that it's continual practice, but once you can shift to me, once I shift to gratitude, um, it's easy to roll from there, and the law of attraction takes hold. The law of attraction is very powerful, it's real, and once you start to see good things, more good things come in front of you, and that rolls into inspired action. When the law of attraction just starts putting opportunities in front of you, and then you just know you have to take some steps. If you lean into it, sometimes you don't you just feel. If you lean into I find that if I lean into my feelings, life unfolds a little easier.
Cool.
So, what do you think um, some of the biggest misconceptions are about working with universal law? When people are trying to get it to work for them, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions might be?
The realness, just faith.
Mhm.
Faith that this is real stuff. Listen to people. We're not hiding. We're not hiding. Those of us who have experienced this firsthand, we're trying to tell you all about it. Um, and then behind that is lack of patience. It is a journey. So it's one step at a time. Um, Personal responsibility. If you have patience, um, and you just take your time. Your thoughts matter. They're powerful. Retraining your thoughts take time. I mean,
Mhm.
it's easy to fall back into old habits. You have
Mhm.
to give yourself grace while continually redirecting those thoughts.
Yeah, I find that we're a I want it now society. Yeah. Everything is instant gratification. Everything comes immediately, and I also find that there's a lot of, this happened to me and that happened
Right.
to me and this person did this to me. And what really happens is life comes from us and
Yes,
not
and the power
to
is what
us.
do we do when we feel like somebody did this to us?
Mhm.
Um, it, just right there, did they do this to us, or did this just happen around us? And then how do we react to that? That is the power.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I often think of my subconscious in the third person, and I'm not sure, I'm sure somebody else kind of introduced that to me, but I find that very helpful. Because in doing that, I treat it like a small child that needs patience and understanding and grace. And I allow myself to then give that to me. But it's helpful. I look at it in the third person because it's easier for us. I don't know. That seems to be wired in lots of us, but we come up thinking it's easier to give to others.
Mhm.
But if we're not giving to ourselves first and we're not strong enough to give to others, it's just that there's nothing to give. We have to give to ourselves first. And in doing that, we give them an example to give to themselves.
Agreed.
And to me, that's the cycle. That's the circle we should be trying to cultivate.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, definitely. Can you share an everyday example, maybe from your life or from a client's life, where applying universal laws led to a breakthrough?
Um, the most recent example for me was when I lost my longstanding job fairly recently. And the timing could have been completely devastating to my family. But I've been following the universal laws long enough to know that I just needed to have faith. Things are always working out for me.
Uh-huh.
I started saying that before I believed in it. But the more I say it, the more I see it, and things are always working out for me. Um, and in this last cycle, my last couple of years, I lost that job, and I really leaned into that, and things have worked out for me beyond my imagination, and they're still unfolding in just a wonderful and beautiful way. So much so that I wrote these books, and I want to share it with as many people that will listen.
That's fantastic.
So you touched on this a bit. We talk about, universal law helping us to move from trying to force something to happen, to allowing things to happen and attracting things to us. So, what do you see as the role of faith in in those universal laws?
For me, faith is the biggest factor. I've learned that when I stop forcing the outcomes, and instead I just have faith that they're always going to work out, they tend to work out easier than if I put more motion in. It's a hard statement for me to get, but somebody once told me that I was working too hard.
Mhm.
And it's still I have to remind myself when I find myself doing that because it's a natural instinct to just throw more at it, keep going. But something happens, you do start working too hard, and when you back up a little bit and you just give it space, and maybe that's what we're doing, give the universe space to do what it does best and pull all those pieces together. Um, Things tend to work out better. So patience coupled with faith reveals opportunities I might have missed over and over again. I see that if I back up and just let myself have patience. Um, yeah, faith allows space for the magic to happen.
Beautiful, beautiful. And when we talk about faith, people look at that word a little sometimes askew. They say, "Oh, faith. Oh, does that make it a religious thing?" And it doesn't really make it a religious thing. I think it's much more of faith that the universe can and will provide. How do you see that?
It, it's much, much broader than
Mhm.
religion. Obviously, there's been religion, but it's faith. I would just, it's interchangeable with belief. So,
Mhm.
belief in myself, belief in the universe, belief in you, belief in the people around me. Um, it's much, much broader than religion.
Agreed. Very much so.
Well, and also finding the person or people in your lives
Mhm.
that when you lose faith, they hold that faith for you.
Yeah. I mean, we'll
That's a
often
beautiful thing.
Yeah, we'll often say to clients that, or that work with us, it's, well, I don't believe that I can do this, or I don't believe that I can do that. And we'll say, you know what? We have faith in you, so why don't you borrow our faith in you until you recognize that your own faith in what you can accomplish.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, for listeners who are feeling overwhelmed or they just feel like their life is too busy, What's one simple practice that they can start to use today to begin working with universal law?
Daydreaming. Daydreaming is my very favorite by far. Um, it's fun. And take a few quiet moments or more every day and imagine your best life. Really see it. Add the details and let yourself feel what it would really feel like to live that life. Um, that's how the law of attraction begins to take root. It works with the energy you're creating. Keep dreaming until you begin to believe in those dreams. Find examples, learn from others. From there, get as ready as you can, and pay attention to the opportunities because they'll start showing up. It really can feel like magic. For me,
That's
it does. For
yeah.
me,
No,
it definitely, I
it
use
truly does.
magic. I use that word all the time, because when it starts to flow, and you really have faith, it feels like magic and it begins to look like magic to people around you.
True enough, true enough. So if everyone truly understood and lived by universal laws, universal principles, how do you believe the world would change? And what's your vision? What do you think is possible?
It's a really big question.
Yeah,
It's a really big question.
it is.
Um, if people truly understood the power of their own thoughts, the energy that they carry and that they create, and move with intention, the world would be a completely different place. There'd be a healthy competition meant to inspire growth. Um, we would we would understand that we're here to uplift one another. We'd learn and we'd grow together, and it would be a beautiful utopia. The actual vision is a bit beyond what I can see, but I do believe it's possible, and I fully believe the more people that lean into this belief, the more possible it becomes.
Yeah, that's
I know.
very true.
Imagine a world if everybody lived that way. How different things would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
What's
can create that world for ourselves.
Mhm.
That's what I want people to really understand. It's that we
Mhm.
can create that world, and it's not selfish. It's not selfish to do so. Um, to me, it's selfish not to do that. If you're, it's just a wonderful space. People enjoy enjoyment. To watch somebody suffer is hard. So if you can do anything to help remove that from somebody else's life, I think you should be trying to do that. And if your first action is to try and remove it from your own life, take the time, do it.
Absolutely.
Since you've been working with the universal laws, what's the wildest manifestation story that you've actually witnessed?
Um, I don't I don't know that there's wild stories. There's a lot of unfolding. There's so many small things. There is a wild story, and it's very, very, very close to me, and it is within my second book, and I think it is what propelled me to write, and where I am right now. Um, it's my son's story more than it's mine, so I got to witness it. Um, but it's some unfolding that really locked in. Again, I've been following this path for quite some time. But 2 years ago, I lost my longstanding job of 26 years. And that'll rattle some people. It was the staple of our family. Um, but like I said, I've gotten a little used to this. So I knew that if I just stepped back, I really wasn't enjoying the job. I really wanted something else to do. It wasn't a decision I would have made on my own.
Mhm.
So there was that little part of me that was excited that I didn't have that job anymore. So I leaned into that. And
Mhm.
within almost 1 month exactly, from losing that job, My son had a health crisis and he needed an organ transplant. It was imperative that I had the time to be by his side. And without losing that job, I would have had a quick moment of unnecessary indecision as I tried to put myself in the right place, where the universe took care of that for me. There wasn't a moment that I needed to be anywhere else. He actually repeated that quite often when I was in the hospital with him. Um, my mother has nowhere else to go. And a little piece of that sounded sad, but I was so, so happy. And he was so grateful that I had nowhere else to go. It was important. Um, the the journey to be on the list to even qualify to get an organ is quite a journey. Uh, my my son seemed, this is his story, but it looked like he kind of locked into not me, not now. He wasn't ready. His prognosis wasn't good. Um, in reality, it was about 3 to 6 months. He needed the best he could do, was to stabilize himself for those 3 to 6 months because to get a transplant in 3 to 6 months is almost unheard of. Um, he locked in. He really locked into everything I believed in, and I just watched him. Positivity led the way. He was cautious about who entered his room, what happened, how he spent his days. He enjoys video games, so we made sure he had his laptop there, and did as much as he could. He um, he tried to lighten the mood for the staff. He knew it mattered, um, and so to watch him do that, to pull that, it was just a beautiful thing, and it did matter. Unheard of things happened. He spent 30 days in the hospital going through the process to get approved to be on the list, and we went home to wait. What should be a long story short is a short story short. 30 days later, he got his call and he got his liver transplant. Um, there's so much more to that story, and in my second book, it's all in there because there's the law of polarity plays a part that has never been put in front of me like that before. It did not go beyond me for a moment. And I get emotional here because I fully understand that somebody else had to lose their life on this earth for my son to walk as healthy as he does right now. But my story gets to be a very happy story. Um, because he doesn't take that lightly either. And he rocked it through recovery. Um, so in the shortest time they allowed, he's back to work and he's thriving. It hasn't even been 2 years. Um, that was just before his 30th birthday. I know him, he's my son, so I know what vision he had of who he was gonna be after his 30th birthday. So I know that that played a role. That's the law of attraction. That's him writing his story. He wrote it a long time ago. So this adversity coming up right before his 30th birthday just couldn't happen. He would not allow for that. And as his mother, I couldn't allow for that thought pattern. I never went down. I can't say I never went down that. I can't say I never did. But I turned it quick. I wrote the story we wanted to see, and that's how I live my life. We write our own story. I fully feel it, and I fully believe that. So I'm cautious to write the story as I want to see it, and I feel like I watched my son do that. He wrote that story not as anybody else told him it might unfold, but as he wanted it to unfold. And I have an amount of gratitude that I don't quite know how to express. And so here come my books, and here comes me, I guess, um, because I do want it. It's so much beyond that. And again, that's his story. There's so there's lots of small moments. There's lots of big moments. Um, life is wonderful if you allow it to be. And even when it's not wonderful, if you look for the lessons and you slow down and you lean in and just try and have faith that things are happening for a reason, and we don't need to understand the reasons. That's a hard one.
Hmm.
It's a really hard one. Um, and again, these I write my books as reminders for myself. I've read them both a couple of times. And in the first one, an introduction, as I read it the second and third time, I was really proud of myself because it's just what I want it to be. It's a book that I think once it gets out there and people feel it, I think you want to carry it with you. I think you want to pick it up again and again and just remind yourself to step back and let life unfold beautifully.
Thank you so much for sharing that story with us. And it's so great to hear your son's doing so well.
Indeed.
He is doing wonderfully. I'm reserved to share his story, but it is a beautiful story, and so I hope that I did. I hope he's happy with how I shared it.
I'm sure he I'm
Yeah.
sure he will be happy with how you share his story. No question. Cynthia, we thank you so very, very much for being with us today and sharing with our listeners your story and our discussion of universal law. And we really, really appreciate it.
I'm very, very happy to be here, um, and I just love the listeners to understand that this is me, and I'm still growing, and I'm still learning, and I'm just inviting as many others along the journey with me.
Absolutely. All of us are on that green growing edge where there's more to come. The story
Yes.
is never quite finished, is it?
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thank you so very much.
Thank
Cynthia's
you.
information will be at the end of this podcast. So, as always, we thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. And thank you to
Thank
the
you.
viewers.
Yes, absolutely. So, remember that you are loved and keep dwelling in your limitless possibilities. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye
Bye.
for now.
Good morning. It's Melanie and Christine from Collaborative Growth, and we have a surprise for you. We are going to be doing a transformational retreat for awakening your dreams. Retreat's going to be in February, the end of February, the 28th and March 1st, so Saturday and Sunday, and it's going to be up at the beautiful Stella Niagara. It is going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's a great place to be.
Yeah. So is your soul calling for more? Are you ready to break through of self-doubt? Recover your purpose? Rediscover your purpose? Maybe you know what your purpose is and you want to grow it. Either way, stepping into the next chapter of your life. Join us for a life-changing weekend designed to ignite your spirit, clarify your vision, and really accelerate you on the path to living the life you love.
We're going to be doing things like uplifting coaching groups and spiritual practices, vision clarifying workshops, guided meditations, soul connected with other folks that dream like you, strategies to overcome resistance and take those inspired actions. We're going to do some creative art projects. We're going to have yoga. We have some massage and so much more. And just so much more. It's going to be amazing.
Yep. So if you're in the Buffalo, Williamsville area, we're going to be up in Lewiston. That's where Stella Niagara is. And the investment for this is going to be $225. This is from Saturday morning through Sunday, late morning, early afternoon. And even a better surprise, we have early bird pricing. $199. This includes the room, the meals, the massages, everything. That early bird pricing is going to be good until December 31st. And space is going to be limited. So you really want to contact us and reserve your spot as soon as possible. This is going to be an amazing couple of days.
It is. And take advantage of that early bird special as a holiday gift. Who do you know that loves experiences more than things. We get to a point in our lives where experiences outweigh, a new coffee mug or, or a new sweater or any of those things. We want experiences rather than things. Or as my children like to say to me, please don't buy us tchotchke. That's what they say. And they're not wrong, because you can be overwhelmed by tchotchke. So it's definitely a great holiday gift. And so that reach out to us. The information will be, of course, at the end of this clip, but reach out and reserve your spot. And we'd love to see you there. We cannot wait to enjoy this weekend with you.
This is an experience we're looking forward to.
We are looking forward to this experience. So until the next time we talk to you, remember to keep dwelling in those limitless possibilities and call us. Sign up for that retreat. We'll see you soon.
Bye for now.